Now, before we get started here today, how your day going? Morning, evening, night, all that good stuff. Whenever you're watching the video, reading the title, Three Disturbing True Hostel Horror Stories. My mind has already taken this all the way to the level of the movies. I don't know if you ever saw the Hostel movies. Actually, the first one was really good. I think the second one was cool. I don't remember so much about the third one, even if there was a third one. I don't remember. Regardless, though, first one was freaking amazing. Even though, as well, my mind has taken it there, because my anxiety gets on my nerves sometimes. Even though it's taken it there already, I do want to experience it, and I really don't think it'll happen to me. I feel like I'm sure it happens, but I bet you I'll be good if I go ahead and go visit somewhere and stay in a hostel. I want to experience it, and I do want it to be with others, like with foreigners. I don't want it to be with my friends. And recently, a lot of my friends just did it. I want to say Amsterdam. I'm sorry, I don't know exactly where, but they recently just did it, and they fine. They at home chilling, doing whatever right now. But either way it go, though, I just want to give you a heads up, let you know, yeah, my mind is already over the top. But yo, want to check out the original video? Link will be in the description below. Well, let's go.
A hostel is a form of low-cost, short-term lodging, where guests share a multi-bed dormitory with a number of other people. Often the beds are in the form of bunk beds, and the rooms are meant to fit as many people as possible so as to create for a cheaper alternative to hotels and Airbnbs. These rooms can be single or mixed gender, and they can have private or shared bathrooms. Hostels are a common go-to for solo travelers who aren't looking to spend a lot of money on a hotel, or for people who only really plan on using the place to sleep and not really hang out. The three stories you're about to hear were recounted by solo travelers who stayed in hostels and had not so great experiences with the people they were sharing their rooms with.
TL.
I was for a while talking to this French girl that I matched on some dating app after my breakup. We were texting for a while, then started calling and FaceTiming each other almost every night. We connected really well, but she came from a strict family who she still lived with. So when the idea of me visiting her came up, she made it clear she wouldn't be able to host me, and when I asked if she'd want to share a hotel room together, she said not the first couple nights after we met, just because her parents would have a freak out. So since I was only 23 and my pockets weren't stuffed, I booked a stay at a hostel not far from her in Paris. I downloaded a couple movies to watch on the 7-hour flight since I already knew I wouldn't be able to sleep. I never can on flights. And I was right. I tried sleeping but didn't even get close. So by the time I landed and then Ubered to the hostel, I was running on 0 hours of sleep within the past 24 hours.
Yeah, that boy horny, that's why.
Due to the 6-hour time difference within the past 24 hours, I was exhausted. Due to the 6-hour time difference, it was also like 3 in the morning, so at least that meant I could just go crash in the bed in the hostel and I wouldn't be jet lagged the next day. I arrived to the hostel, which admittedly wasn't the nicest place ever. It was small. There was a certain odor to the lobby, and the front desk worker wasn't too enthusiastic about his job. But it was 3 a.m. after all, so I had to cut him some slack. I walked to the room I'd be staying in, and there were 6 beds, 5 of them empty, but one had a guy sitting on it. He was on his laptop, typing away at something. He looked up at me, then back down at his laptop. I said hey, but he didn't respond back. He seemed invested in what he was doing, so I just laid down in one of the empty beds. But the light to the room was still on. I asked him if it was okay that I shut off the light. Then he looked at me with a blank expression but didn't say anything. I repeated what I said, assuming he didn't hear me, and he nodded his head with this weird smile. So I got up and turned off the lights to the room. I passed out pretty quickly due to—
I ain't gonna lie, though, I'd have kept the lights on, because even though I do want to experience this, I told you that, I do. I don't mind to be like that, though, where it's like a big room and it's only me and one other person there. Hell no. And on top of that, seem a little weird so far. I don't know, but who knows? Maybe he's doing the same thing, but he's just trying to like not be nice, because some people there, he might be scared too. Like, I don't want you to think I'm hella nice and try to take advantage of me in this mug. Hell no. It don't seem like that though. It seems like he really kind of a little crazy though. But yeah, I would have left the light on because I don't trust you at that point.
So I got up and turned off the lights to the room. I passed out pretty quickly due to my lack of sleep, but surprisingly, I woke up a couple hours later. The room was still dark, but I didn't know for sure what woke me up. I rolled over to my side and looked around the room. It was almost pitch black, but I could see that all the beds were empty. All of them. Where was the other guy that was there earlier? The 2 bunk beds next to me were empty, top and bottom, but I knew something had to have woken me up.
Something above him, huh?
I looked on my phone, and it was 5 in the morning. I needed sleep, so I said screw it. He probably left, and maybe a sound from out in the hall woke me up. I lay back down on my side and closed my eyes. The mild traffic noises from outside was all that I heard. Then the bed shook a bit, and I heard a little crack of the metal frame, accompanied with this freakish breathing sound. I looked up in horror, and on top of me, I saw a head peering over the edge of the top bunk, looking into the bottom bunk at me. I can see the same creepy smile on his face, and his medium to longish black hair was drooping down with gravity below the top of his head as he hung upside down. It was a horrifying sight that words really can't explain. I screamed and fell off the bed as I realized what I was looking at. He sat up in the top bunk and continued looking at me. I screamed, "What the F are you doing?" as I threw something at him. He started to laugh, this really strange, off-putting laugh.
What the hell?
I immediately turned the light on and went through my stuff to make sure nothing was stolen, while watching him at the same time. I then heard a click of a phone camera and looked at him as he was holding his phone up to me, clearly having just taken a picture of me. He was still laughing while looking at me. Something was wrong with this man. I didn't know if he had some—
I don't even want to refill it. I'm getting out, dog. I ain't doing crazy.
He was still laughing while looking at me. Something was wrong with this man. I didn't know if he had some screws loose mentally, or if he was doing this with bad intentions. I zipped up my bag and went to the front desk and requested a different room immediately.
I'm gone.
One of the single private rooms. After explaining why and trying to get a reduced rate, he wouldn't budge. But he said he'd check on the room with the guest that I was just in. I didn't call the police because I didn't know if any laws were broken, but I sure as hell left a review of the hostel. The rest of my trip there was good. I had a good time with the girl I was seeing, but every time I returned to the hostel, I was scared I'd run into that guy. I don't like how a picture of me is on that weirdo's phone. I'm not a physical guy, but I wish in that instance, I did get physical.
Damn, so meaning he... Oh, man. All right, real quick, we'll do a little bit of talking, because I told you my mind already took it to Hostel. We got to add anyway. My mind already took it to that. Now, it was creepy. It wasn't over the top crazy, but it was creepy. What it felt like to me, I told you my mind is already at the movie. Like, what if he was taking a picture because he was showing, like, yo, what about this dude? How much? Nah, all right, cool. That's what I feel like, though. Because he got the picture of him, but then he felt like he just kind of just kept laughing and, like, basically wanted to scare him. So I'm like, what if he's kind of wanting to leave? Like, nah, wait for the next person to come, whatever. I don't know. Because if it was a room full of all 6 people, it'll be hard to take pictures of everybody and try to get a picture. But if I keep scaring you niggas out keep scaring you all ass out one by one, and I'm getting my pictures, I don't know. My mind is already there. Let's just watch the video. This is crazy. Ignore me. This water, by the way. I kid you not.
I'm a solo traveler. I've stayed in countless hostels as a means of saving money, while also meeting new interesting people. I've stayed in a total of about 20 hostels in my life, and 90% of the time I've had good experiences. My first truly awful experience, though, was at a place called Freedom Traveler Hostel. And before I begin, I want to note that my horrible experience wasn't the complete fault of the hostel itself. The Freedom Traveler Hostel is located in Rome. It was my first time ever visiting Rome. I was completely inexperienced to the landscape, and relied heavily on Google Maps and locals. In fact, even finding the hostel itself proved challenging, as there were no signs for the place outside. But once I found the place, I let myself in through the big brown doors, and was greeted by a nice woman working the front counter. I had already booked a stay in one of the 4-person rooms. I was led to the room I'd be staying in, which had 1 bunk bed and 2 single beds, totaling sleeping space for 4 people. The room had a green theme to it, but it wasn't the biggest room. The worker told me there weren't many people staying in the hostel at the moment, which I didn't really have a problem with if it would mean I would have more privacy in the room. The woman had a smile on her face the entire time, and I appreciated her help. She showed me where I could store my luggage, which was actually just some shed in the back garden area. I wasn't impressed nor confident with it, so I decided I'd leave my luggage in the room, especially since I didn't bring anything too valuable. I was exhausted after a whole day of traveling, so after changing clothes and stowing my luggage under the bottom bunk bed, I laid down ready to take a quick power nap. Not long after, I heard a knock at the door, and 2 young men walked in. They had thick Italian accents, I could tell right away. They greeted me and started talking to me, even though I was mid-nap.
I hate them kind of people.
so I was friendly and chatted with them.
If it was like a quick, cause I get you finally meet me, but like, oh my bad, my name's I'm your what's name, but you go back to sleep. But I hate the ones they see you trying to sleep and they just keep on like conversing, like oh my gosh, like shut the fuck up.
I was mid-nap, but I'm polite and social, so I was friendly and chatted with them. They introduced themselves as Marco and Lucio, brothers. Marco had to be like 6'4", he was huge. Lucio was probably 5'11", but he wasn't a toothpick either, and I could see the resemblance in their faces. They were very tan, but both had receding hairlines, even though I could tell they were in their early 20s. They weren't the friendliest looking guys, but at first they seemed okay enough. After getting acquainted in English with them, the two brothers started to talk amongst themselves in Italian. They didn't know that I understood though, because right away I understood them to be talking about me, laughing at me. I heard, I believe, Marco describing me as some silly white boy.
Nigga, you got some nerves. You 20 and you already losing your hairline, boy. Chill out. I already know that too. I'm like, yeah, because you too young to be stressing like that. I get it. Some people, it just happen. But both of y'all, damn. Hell no. But I will play it off like I don't know. Because that's why I keep on listening to what they're saying. And just keep playing it off like, oh, what? What's up? What you talking about? I just play it off whatever. The whole time be paying attention. Like, yeah, try some funny shit if you want.
I believe Marco describing me as some silly white boy. I could have said something right there in Italian, but instead I wanted to keep the illusion that I didn't speak the language. The two brothers eventually got up from their beds and left the room, with Lucio smiling and waving at me as they left. I just realized they didn't have their luggage in the room, which led me to believe they left their luggage in the storage shed in the garden area. I went to the garden area for a bit just to mingle with some of the people sitting out there, and I met a few nice tourists who were also staying there for the weekend. Then off I went to explore the city, heading in the direction of city center. After many hours and two food stops later, I returned to the hostel expecting some people to be socializing in the lounge area or in the back garden, but there was no one. So I figured I'd just get some early shut-eye. It was 9 p.m. anyway. I don't remember when I fell asleep, but I remember waking up. The lights in the room were still off, but I heard whispering voices.
Lucio.
The brothers were back. I didn't move. I listened to what they were saying, still speaking in Italian. One of them whispered something that roughly translated to, just grab it, or are you gonna do it?
Bro, what?
I didn't know what it meant.
Oh, your luggage.
I had a feeling they were talking about my luggage. I was waiting to hear the sound of my luggage being moved before I would let them know I was awake, but instead, I felt a sweet-smelling, cold and wet cloth being pressed up to my face, and I reacted by yelling and swatting it off my face. I turned to see one of the brothers standing over me. I screamed, "What are you doing?" The man over me, I couldn't tell which one it was, then got on the lower bed with me and tried to subdue me.
Yeah, you gotta get up, dog.
I kicked him off and screamed for help. The other brother pulled him away from me, and the two men took off out of the room. I quickly grabbed my bag and shoes and went to the front desk for help. The man who was working now said he saw the two guys leave, but there was no information on them even staying there.
Because they wouldn't even supposed to be there, I knew it.
They were two random locals who were trying to rob visitors to the hostel. They tried to literally chloroform me. I didn't stay there after that, of course. I'm sure they've upped their security now, but when I stayed there, clearly anybody could have just walked right in.
Yeah, no, I don't give a
damn. If I wasn't awake, I would have been chloroformed and robbed of my entire bag. After this, I started being more careful of the hostels I stay at.
Hell no, because they paid you to say, yeah, they do all that. No, I don't give a damn. I'm telling you what, this what happened when I was there, and it was real easy for them to get up in there, in and out my room multiple times. Tell me to put my damn luggage. What if I'd have brought my PS5? I ain't put my shit out there. Hell no. I mean, I wouldn't have brought that to Rome if I went to Rome, but still, I ain't, hell no. Let me go to another hostel.
If I wasn't awake, I would have been chloroformed and robbed of my entire bag. After this, I started being more careful of the hostels I stay at.
You see this app right here? It's called Audible.
I don't
Using
care.
just this little app on my phone,
You got 1 second. I wasn't sold.
I once went to Miami Beach by myself for the Art Basel, and to just escape the cold. My friend Mia would be there with her boyfriend, and I'd meet up with them.
What did they say? Well, hold up.
I once went to Miami Beach by myself for the Art Basel, and to just escape the cold. My friend Mia would be there with her boyfriend, and I'd meet up with them, but I wasn't staying with them. Hotels and Airbnbs in Miami aren't cheap though, especially if you're flying solo. So I went with this hostel called Bikini Hostel. It's like in the heart of Miami Beach, and it was pretty crowded. Even the check-in lobby had some people in it. It had a younger vibe, mostly people in their 20s. Some people seemed to be there in groups, others solo like me. I didn't spend too much time in the hostel though. It was only meant as a place to sleep for me. The place...
I'm sorry, I think it's called Bikini, and it's a younger audience. Even though the other head of me like, hell yeah, let's stay here, man. But this head's like, I don't want that stress. Hell no.
In their 20s. Some people seemed to be there in groups, others solo like me. I didn't spend too much time in the hostel though. It was only meant as a place to sleep for me. The place had lockers that you could put your bags in, so I was able to be gone the entire day with peace of mind.
A little upgrade.
It wasn't until that first night that I returned and met some of the people in the room with me. I was in a mixed dorm, meaning both male and females, though I was actually the only female in the room.
Ooh.
I wasn't necessarily uncomfortable with that. I wasn't really there for the people, more so just the money saved. I met about 3 of the however many people were actually staying in the room. The next morning, I woke up, and first thing I did was look for my phone, which I thought I left on the bed. I looked all over the bed and then under it. Someone in the room had to have taken it. I started asking everybody if anybody had it. I asked the guy in the bed next to me to call my number and see if we could hear it ring, but no one could. I started to question if maybe I didn't bring it back to the room after all. I borrowed the same guy's phone to call my friend Mia and tell her I lost my phone and to meet me at the brunch place we wanted to hit. I checked the entire room one last time, then checked with the front desk and asked them to call Mia's number if anyone should
grow legs and walk. I'm not gonna lie, look, I should be thinking like, oh, it's a weirdo got your phone because he's going through it. But I told you, where my head is at right now, just being honest with you, the name, look, it's a young artist. I'm sorry. I just feel like you got. That's all I feel like.
Entire room one last time, then checked with the front desk and asked them to call Mia's number if anyone should turn my phone in. Then I left to meet Mia at this place on Collins Avenue to get brunch with her and her boyfriend. While there, I used Mia's phone to sign into iCloud to check Find My iPhone. It said the last known location was at the hostel 2 hours ago. That gave me some form of relief, because maybe I left it in my bag or the locker or something. We went back to the hostel together and looked everywhere in the room, including the locker and my bag. It didn't turn up, and this made absolutely no sense. But I wasn't going to let it ruin my trip. We walked to the convention center, which was where the Art Basel was being held. After leaving hours later, we grabbed a late lunch, or early dinner, and hit a couple bars afterwards. At some point, I checked Find My iPhone on Mia's phone again, and this time it said my phone had moved. It was basically right on top of us.
Oh, I knew it.
Mia and her boyfriend joked about me being sure I don't have it on me. I told them I absolutely do not. I looked around for anyone who might have my phone, but what would I even look for? I put my phone into lost mode now that I knew someone had it. Mia's boyfriend screamed out, "Did anybody find a lost phone?" But no one came forward, though everyone looked at us and some people laughed, that's for sure. We tried calling my phone a bunch of times, and though it would ring, no one picked up. I went back to the hostel when it was dark out to change clothes. As I was walking back, I was starting to accept that maybe my phone wasn't going to be returned to me, but my entire walk back, I felt like this weird-looking guy was following me. He took every single same turn I took. I don't think he noticed that I noticed, but I was very suspicious he was following me. When I got back to the room, I went on my laptop before getting changed to check Find My iPhone
back
again.
On top of her.
And now the location was back in the hostel.
I knew it.
I was excited because I thought maybe they were returning it. I checked the front desk though, and nothing. I asked a bunch of people in the hostel too. No one had it, or at least they weren't admitting to it. So I went to Instagram on my laptop and started DMing Mia to keep her updated on when I'd be ready to meet them out. I went to take a quick shower, then changed into more going out appropriate attire. When I came out from the bathroom and back into the room,
Stuff missing again.
I was shocked to see that man that I thought was following me was sitting in one of the beds on his phone. There were 2 other guys in the room with us at that moment, but I had a scary thought, so I hurried to DM Mia to call my phone right now. She said okay,
just get out.
And then I heard the sound of a phone vibrating in a pocket or on a bed. I looked up at the guy, who suspiciously looked back at me at the same time as if he knew, and that told me everything. I started yelling, "Give me my phone," exclaiming, "I got you," to him. The other 2 guys in the room helped me, and demanded the guy empty his pockets and give me my phone. He listened and took out a phone. Sure enough, my phone. I snatched it from his hand and told the other two guys that he had been following me all day and was purposely avoiding returning my phone, which he probably took while I was asleep. The guy got up and hurried out of the building with his backpack, never returning. I made friends with the two guys who helped me. Their names were Mark and Paulo. I had them come out with me to meet up with Mia. I'm grateful they were there, because I wonder how things would have played out differently if they weren't. I also recommend keeping your phone and valuables in a very safe place if you ever stay in a hostel, and just generally be aware of the people around you.
I told you, I knew it. I knew it. I thought I was about to get really crazy, like crazy scared. That's how I was like, ooh, like tripping. I knew it. Look, I already knew this was. You get mad all you want. All right, let's say I just hit 21. Boom. I'm in Miami. I see a place called Bikini Hostel, and I'm looking for a hostel. Yeah, that's definitely the one I'm gonna stay. You know why? Because I'm about to take my little 21 immature ass mind in there, be a fool, trying to get some hoes. It's how it's gonna work. So I get, it's kind of like the movies, like, because I was once that kid. It's kind of like the movies. I don't go to the popular movies because I know how we were in there when we were in high school. Boy, baby just get older, but I love when I went one time I went to the movies. I love the fact that it was like you couldn't get in if you was under 17 after a certain time. I was like, send these little motherfuckers to the crib. Look, I know hindsight is 2020. I know this, but I'm sorry. Some things I could just see from a mile away. Like, yeah, I'm cool on that spot. And when I say I called it, this is a horror channel. So we expect a horror stuff, right? I was like, nah. Some of the niggas stole your shit. And I don't mean that as in black, because you got other niggas, you got white niggas, you got Mexican niggas. Dog. But look, either way, I'm gonna go ahead and get up out here and chill, enjoy the rest of my day. Morning, evening, night. You go ahead and do the same. Do whatever you like, you know what I'm saying? Enjoy your night. You can go stay at Bikini Hostel if you will, have a great time. You do your thing. And at the beginning when I said I do want to stay in one, I didn't mean like in the States though. I think if I clear that up or not. I don't know. But either way it go though. I don't want to do it here because yeah, that's boring. I want to actually go. So I know it's so typical, but I do want to go to Amsterdam and I do want to do it there because we just legal here now. I'm good. But it was like, still, I want to experience Amsterdam's. You know, I'm going to go wrap this video. I'm about to go ahead and get up out of here and enjoy my day. You go ahead and do the same thing. I'm out.